Well, good morning and welcome to Wake Up Wednesday. This is Regina Clark. My business is Brainwave Balancing, and I am excited to be with you today on another cold and even snowy day in the month of May. Go figure, it's that time. And May is actually my birthday month, and having grown up my first 18 years in Texas and then spending 25 years in New Mexico, I am still getting used to having snow in the month of May. But today I wanted to get to a topic and that I just think is really important, and I think there's so much to learn, and I'm revisiting this. I've had this book for many years, and I think every time I come back to it, it's super helpful to me, so I thought I'd share it with you. Maybe you've never heard of the Four Agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz, so hopefully over the next few weeks, because we're going to, handle each agreement one at a time because there's so much great information around it. So this first one is about being impeccable with your word. He says that this is the most important one, but it's also the most difficult one to honor. It sounds very simple, but it is very powerful. The word is not just a sound or a written symbol. The word is a force. It's a power that you have to express and to communicate, to think, and thereby create the events in your life. You can speak. What other animal on the planet has the ability to speak? So it's an incredible privilege. And he also says it's like a sword with two edges. And I think we can all attest to this, that our words can build up or they can tear down. They can give life or they can destroy everything around them. So it depends a lot on how it's used. The word can either set you free or it can enslave you. And he uses the example of Hitler, who used his word to manipulate a whole country of the most intelligent people, and he destroyed the lives of millions. And this was all through the power of his word. He activated people's fear, and he led them into a world war just with the power of his word. He convinced others to commit the most atrocious acts of violence. And then so that's an example, a very powerful negative example of how the word can be used to manipulate and to destroy. Then there's also a lot of times things are done very innocently. So when we're children, we've talked about some of these things. We're in that subconscious receiving theta brainwave state. So we're like these little sponges that soak up, and we're designed that way, that we don't have to relearn everything every day. So we're programmable, and things can then go on autopilot. But when you're young and you're given some opinion from an adult or a sibling, someone in your life, then oftentimes we live in fear of over those opinions, like not being good. It could be at so many things, right? You're not good. He uses the example of swimming or sports or writing, or it could be reading or art or music. That somewhere along the line, we were given the idea that we're not very good at that, or even something like an opinion about how someone looks. Someone could say, look, this girl's ugly. The girl hears, she listens, she believes she's ugly, and she grows up with the idea that that's true. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter how beautiful she is. If as long as she has made the agreement, she will believe that she's ugly. So that's where he gets into this idea of agreements. We hear a lot of things, and a lot of things aren't going to matter. They're not going to impact us. But he calls it, if someone hooks your attention, so they've got your attention, and now, especially now as we're older, we have the choice of whether we are going to agree with what that person says or not. So we become the ones choosing and also being very aware of what we're saying. So our choice of words that are going out and the choice of words that we're allowing to come in. Because whenever we hear an opinion and we believe it, we make an agreement and then it becomes part of our belief system. So if you accept the opinion, you make the agreement, and then you put all your power into that opinion. So one of the things, again, the idea is that we have to become conscious. We have to become aware of what it is that we've made agreements with. What did someone tell me that I have now taken upon myself and made the agreement that it's true, and now I'm living in that way? So if it's not something that you want to continue on with, then we need to just it says to make a new agreement, right? So we have to break the old agreement and then we make a new agreement based on truth. And this is what's going to help us get where we want to go and be the people that we want to be. The other thing he mentions in here, and I'm going to close with this, I think we're going to have to do a part 2 on this first one so it doesn't get too long, because the second part that I want to get to is talking about the impeccability of our word with ourself. And I believe that one deserves a time all on its own. So it's what do we say when we talk to ourselves? But the other thing in this section, before we'll get to that next time, he's talking about gossip. And I think this is a really important point to make, because it's pure poison is how he talks about it. And, again, oftentimes it's done naively, or it's just the way that we've learned to communicate. We don't think much of it. But just to be able to have people sitting around giving their opinions openly about other people, and oftentimes people that they don't even know, that's really dangerous. He calls it emotional poison being transferred along with the opinions. And again, we've just learned a normal way to communicate. I think about the old game telephone, right? You hear something, and then that person repeats what they heard that you said. And by the time it could be so far away from the truth that it's very damaging and very hurtful. So until next time, I was thinking if we could just pay attention and think about this idea of what agreements I've made, of being impeccable with my word, of saying what I mean, of meaning what I say, being careful about what I'm allowing in to my life, what I'm agreeing with, and also being aware of what's coming out of my mouth and what I'm saying and how that could be impacting other people. So again, I think this is incredible information. I think it's a really fun book, and it's great to be revisiting it with you. So until next time, take care of that beautiful brain of yours and be impeccable with your word.